Our journey today leads us across a shifting tidal causeway, where 500,000 visitors venture each year to experience the magic of the holy island of Lindisfarne. We'll stroll through the charming village with its quaint cottages, tea rooms and gift shops, but more importantly we'll uncover the island's natural beauty and delve into its profound 1400-year history as the birthplace of Christianity in the north. From Viking raids to holy pilgrimages, Lindisfarne has witnessed centuries of dramatic history. Get ready to walk in the footsteps of saints and warriors as we explore this legendary island. Although it's a damp and grey start to our day, the weather will improve later on. We're heading towards the Lindisfarne Causeway crossing, a short 45-minute drive from our charming base in Embleton, which we explored in last week's video. We're up bright and early because today's low tide window is from 8:25 to 3:35 PM, as the sign we just passed indicates. The tide sweeps in from the North Sea twice a day, covering the causeway completely. If you plan to visit Lindisfarne, it's crucial to arrive and leave within the low tide window, otherwise you'll be stranded on the island until the next low tide. Whilst the signs are helpful, it's always best to check the official website before setting off so you can plan your visit accordingly. We're arriving early at the causeway because Lindisfarne is a popular destination and we want to get ahead of the crowds of coach tours that usually arrive later in the morning. Before the 1950s, access to Lindisfarne was a perilous journey across the tidal sands and often undertaken in horse-drawn carts or on foot. The construction of the causeway in 1954 revolutionised access, offering a safer and more convenient way to reach the island by car. Some still come to take the Pilgrim's Way walk across the sands on a special designated route marked by tall poles. Note that the safe tidal times for the Pilgrim's Way are not the same as those advertised for the car causeway, as this has a longer dry time than the Pilgrim's route. Visitor parking is located a 10-minute walk outside the village centre, and it was evident this morning that we were among the early birds. Keep in mind that parking isn't free, you'll need to grab a ticket from the machine. The minimum charge is £6.50 for 3 hours at the time of filming. We noticed this trend throughout Northumberland, with a minimum 3-hour charge and a £6.50 fee being standard. I think that's a bit steep and unfair if you're planning a brief stop somewhere. Let's stroll into the village and cover some of the early history. King Oswald, who ruled the vast Anglo-Saxon kingdom of Northumbria from his fort at Bamborough, summoned an Irish monk named Aiden from the Hebridean island of Iona in 635 AD, requesting he become bishop of his kingdom and establish one of the earliest monasteries. The purpose was to spread Christianity throughout the northern reaches of his realm. They chose Lindisfarne, a tranquil and secluded island just a few miles across the sea from Bamborough, for their monastic settlement. We'll visit Bamborough Castle, built on the site of the Anglo-Saxon fort, and the lovely village in its shadow next week, another coastal settlement with many stories to tell. Lindisfarne, in sight of King Oswald's fort, offered the monks access to a bountiful supply of fish from the sea and 3 square miles of arable land to cultivate for sustenance. Given the less than ideal weather, we'll start by exploring the village streets and hope the low-hanging clouds lift soon. Our goal is to catch a glimpse of the iconic castle, which is currently shrouded in mist, It should be right ahead of us now. The village's unique location means the shop opening times vary with the tide, and it's still a bit early for them to be open. For those who wish to extend their stay, there are options to spend the night on the island with a hotel and various holiday homes and B&Bs available. Lindisfarne Mead boasts a rich tradition that harks back to the 7th century, drawing inspiration from the island's heritage and Aidan's Monastery. While steeped in history, the company's mead production itself began in the late 1950s, bringing the flavour of the past to the modern palate. St Cuthbert's Presbyterian Church was built in 1891 for a congregation of mainly fishermen and their families. It became part of the United Reformed Church in 1972. As the congregation dwindled in the following decades, the Northern Synod of the URC sought a new vision for the church's future, and the building was ultimately redeveloped into St Cuthbert's Centre, a versatile facility that honours the heritage of the past while meeting the diverse needs of today's visitors. There is supposed to be a good view of the castle from the Manor House Hotel car park. Let's go and see if the weather has cleared up. That'll be a no then. This is a sculpture of Aiden, the first Bishop of Lindisfarne, a position he held for 16 years before his death. His legacy as a missionary is undeniable. He laid the groundwork for the conversion of much of Anglo-Saxon England, training missionaries to continue his work spreading the word of Christianity far and wide. He and King Oswald would become saints, as would St Cuthbert, described as perhaps the most popular saint in Britain prior to the death of Thomas Becket in 1170. Cuthbert was bishop for just 2 years, from 685 AD. It is believed he accepted his appointment on Church Hill in the village of Alnmouth, a beautiful fishing village we visited a couple of weeks back on the channel. Do watch that video if you missed it. This is St Mary the Virgin Church, believed to stand on the site of the original monastery founded by St Aidan. It is the oldest building on the island and includes sections from the Saxon period, most notably the Saxon Arch. Sadly, we couldn't film much inside as an event was going on. Lindisfarne became the epicentre of European learning, art and religion, one of the most important in the Anglo-Saxon world. The Lindisfarne Gospels were crafted here, now kept safe in the British Library. Everything changed in June 793 when the Vikings attacked the country for the first time. Raiding Lindisfarne and plundering the monastery of its treasures, it began centuries of Viking aggression with armies invading and conquering parts of England. By 830 the monks retreated to the mainland, Norham, taking the remains of St. Cuthbert, the Gospels and the remaining treasures with them to keep safe. In 875 they left the island for good. By the 11th century, Anglo-Saxon kings had regained control of most of England, and the monks built a new shrine to St Cuthbert in the form of the magnificent Durham Cathedral. We'll be visiting the cathedral after our Northumberland travel series as part of a historic tour of the city, so please subscribe to our channel so you don't miss it.
Well, what started out as a pretty grim morning, visibility was really low, cloudy, raining, slowly starting to brighten up a bit. So we're going to go check out the Priory and the castle and have a walk around and see what Holy Island has to offer.
Wanting to keep the connection to St Cuthbert and Lindisfarne alive, the monks returned in the 1100s and built a new monastery and a magnificent priory church, and we are standing in the grounds now. Managed by English Heritage, you'll need a ticket to walk in the ruins of the priory. Details of opening times and prices are here. We are looking at the north nave arcade of the church. The architecture deliberately echoes that of Durham Cathedral. Work started on the church in about 1120 and was completed by 1150. It housed a cenotaph, an empty tomb marking the traditional burial site of St Cuthbert. Though his relics were enshrined in Durham, the original Lindisfarne location retained its sacred significance, attracting pilgrims. Look at the incredible rainbow arch, once one of two interlocking arches holding the huge tower above. This information board gives us an idea of what it was like. Additional monastic buildings serving as living quarters were constructed in the later part of the 12th century, when the priory housed approximately 10 monks. Scottish kings were major benefactors of Lindisfarne's Benedictine monks until Edward I's 1296 invasion of Scotland, turning the once peaceful border into a war zone. The monks fortified the priory but still feared they had inadequate defences. They petitioned Richard II in 1385 to dismantle them due to the cost of maintaining a garrison. Despite border conflicts, life in Lindisfarne remained comfortable, with extensive buildings providing privacy and suggesting ample servants cared for the monks. The priory survived for over 400 years, but monastic life finally came to an end under the rule of Henry VIII, who abolished all monasteries in England in 1536. The island's strategic location near the Scottish border transformed it into a crucial military stronghold. Lindisfarne became a key garrison and naval base, with new defences constructed for the harbour. Lindisfarne Castle was built on a rocky outcrop, further solidifying the island's military importance, and at last we can see the castle in the distance. Before we walk to the castle, let's just take a path by St Mary's down to the shore for a view of St Cuthbert Island, where it's said he lived as a hermit for a time. It's just under a mile's walk to the castle, something most visitors will do, as the walk is pretty easy and takes in some lovely scenery. Window on Wild is designed to blend with the natural environment. The building is an educational resource with informative displays about the island's biodiversity and conservation efforts.
Very dark.
Its large window offers panoramic views of a wildlife-rich field, frequently visited by various species of birds, insects, and sometimes the sheep. Herring fishing was big business on the island years ago. Now a small fleet of boats still makes a living from the sea, with crab and lobster being exported all over the world. Lindisfarne Castle was originally built in the 1550s. It was intended as a fort to protect the area from Scottish raids. However, the castle you see today is not entirely the original structure. In the early 20th century, the castle was extensively renovated and redesigned by architect Edwin Lutyens for its new owner, Edward Hudson. This renovation gave the castle much of its current appearance, blending the original Tudor fort with art and crafts style elements. So whilst the castle's foundations and some parts of its structure date back to the 16th century, its current look is a result of early 20th century renovations. You can buy tickets to go inside, but we'd already been to the Priory and had other places to visit that day, so passed on this attraction. It's now mid-morning, and as you can see, the island is starting to come alive with many more visitors. Well, it's getting very busy now, so we're going to leave the area and head on to our next destination, which you can see in next week's video. So look out for Bamburgh Castle coming next time. The castle is perched on a dramatic basalt outcrop on the Northumberland coast, a fortress that has been part of centuries of history, conflict and resilience. Its story is intertwined with the village that is nestled in its shadow. For over 1,000 years, Bamburgh village has been shaped by the castle and its rulers. We'll explore its history, admire its incredible staterooms, stroll the village and discover a young woman who became a national hero for her courageous role in a daring rescue. Make sure you are subscribed so you don't miss it. See you again soon, Memory Seekers.